Hi, New Rich family and friends. Pastor Ricky here. Welcome to week 2 of our Nehemiah series, Building on a Firm Foundation for a Renewed Life. This week, we're focusing on a powerful truth. God-given vision needs action. We're in Nehemiah chapter 2, and we're going to see how a man of God responds when a burden becomes a calling. In chapter 1, Nehemiah was heartbroken. But instead of acting out immediately, he spent 4 months in prayer. Did you catch that? 4 months. That brings us to today's passage. It begins with a conversation between Nehemiah and the king of Persia. The king notices Nehemiah looks sad, which is dangerous in that context. But Nehemiah takes a deep breath, prays silently, and speaks up. He makes his request to return to Jerusalem and rebuild its walls. But what's amazing is how prepared Nehemiah is. He doesn't just ask to go, he asks for letters for protection, to access to materials, and a timeline. He has a plan. Now, this shows us that vision without preparation often leads to frustration. And Nehemiah had both spiritual insight and practical readiness. Now here's something deeper you might not catch on a quick read. Remember, Nehemiah's role was the king's cupbearer. It wasn't just about serving wine. It meant he had the king's trust. He was close to power. Leaving that role was risky. This makes Nehemiah's decision even more courageous. He was stepping away from comfort to step into calling. So he got ready to make the trek from the winter palace of Susa towards Jerusalem. And get this, when he arrives in Jerusalem, he doesn't start building right away. He waits 3 days, then inspects the walls quietly at night. Why? Because vision requires clarity. He knew he needed to understand the situation before rallying the people. And this is a great reminder. Not every dream from God is meant to be shared immediately. There's wisdom in waiting until the time is right. And after seeing the damage for himself, Nehemiah finally speaks to the leaders in Jerusalem. He says, "Come, let us rebuild the wall, and we will no longer be in disgrace." And the people responded, "Let us start rebuilding." Folks, this moment is powerful. Nehemiah doesn't guilt the people, he invites them. And more than that, he shares how the king has already provided. It's one thing to have a dream. It's another to show others that God is already moving. Of course, as soon as they begin, opposition shows up. Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem mock the whole idea. But Nehemiah doesn't take the bait. He doesn't argue or lash out. He simply says, "The God of heaven will give us success. We, his servants, will start rebuilding." And that's the kind of quiet confidence that comes from prayer and preparation. Here's the truth. When you step out in faith, not everyone will cheer you on. But you don't need everyone's approval. You need God's calling. So let me ask you, is there something God has put in your heart? Something you felt burdened by for a long time? Maybe it's a family relationship, a broken part of your community, or a ministry idea you can't shake. This week's challenge is simple but powerful. Write out a plan for something God has placed on your heart. No matter how big or small, what's the first step? Who should you talk to? Pray over it daily and be ready to act when the moment comes. Use your Nehemiah notebook to write it down and reflect on it each day. And don't forget to go through the discussion questions in your participant guide individually or in your group. They're designed to help you go even deeper. Let's continue to pursue Christ, grow together, and impact the world so that every person will live a life transformed by Christ. God bless you, and I'll see you next week for week 3 of Nehemiah.